Hello, am I audible, guys? Am I audible? A quick audio check, guys. Am I audible to all of you? Yeah. So welcome back. Welcome everybody in the day two of API Python automation. So how many of you have downloaded the stuff that was discussed yesterday, Python and Pycharm in their own systems? Python and Pycharm. Anyone who has done that? Yes. Okay. Anyone else who has downloaded Python and Pycharm? Yes. Okay. Great. Cool. So today we are going to see how exactly we are going to automate a API using Pycharm or using Python. What are the libraries that are required? So when I'm talking about coding, there are few important things to be discussed prior to that. So let me give you a scenario. Let's open Paint. Let me give you a scenario. Suppose you have three different projects. This is your project one, this is your project two, and this is your project three. So let me name it. I'll name it as project one. I'll name this one as project two, and I'll name this one as project three. Cool. All these three projects work on different sets of requirements, you can say. When I'm saying different sets of requirement, it means suppose my project one works on Selenium version 2.1. Also, I'm saying that it also works on, let's say, ABCD version 3.0 and other dependencies. Similarly, I'll say my project 2 has a working on it works on Selenium version 1.0, and the other dependency it requires is, let's say, it needs a PDF converter to execute a project. So there is a calculator library, or you can say the one we discussed yesterday. That was a calculator library, yes. So it requires the calculator library. Now, similarly, we have a few project structure for our third one. The first one is that it may require the latest version of Selenium. I'll say the latest Selenium. Then I'll say another requirement that it follows. It wants Another requirement that it follows is that it requires the calculator version 3.0, let's say. Now I'm saying that all these three projects are on your machine, At a time, I'm repeating myself, at one time, only one project can be executed, because if you are using version 2.1, Selenium version 2.1, my project 2 and my project 3 will not work because they are on different Selenium versions. In case if I'm going to use Selenium version 1.0, my project 1 and my project 3 will not work because they are on different Selenium versions. In case if I'm working with the latest Selenium version, my project 1 and 2 will not work because of different requirements. Now, as an end user, my job, I am stuck because at a time I can only install one set of dependencies in my computer, correct? Either I can install version 2.1 and 3, 1.0 and calculator, or the latest version and calculator. Now, what should I do that I want to input from you guys. What should I do that I execute all these three projects independently in the same machine? Any suggestions? What can I do to execute all these three projects independently in the same machine? Any inputs, guys? It's okay to be good, it's okay to be wrong, just give an input. API. Okay. Any more suggestions? I believe the question is clear to everybody. Any suggestions? Try that one time. What I will do, what I will do is I am going to create a new, I am going to create a new virtual environment. This is called a virtual environment. Now, what is a virtual environment? As the name suggests, a virtual environment is a different type of, you can say, um, it is a utility, it is a program, you can say. Just a second. You can say virtual environment is a tool. It is type of a tool which is available individually for all the projects, which is available individually for all the projects. When I mean it is available individually, it means in the last scenario, what was happening? These two dependencies were installed at a global level. When I was installing these two libraries at a global level, I was not able to execute other projects. But now what will happen? I am going to install these libraries inside a virtual environment, which is only and only specific to a single project, which is only and only specific to a single project. So now the question that was raising earlier, that what will happen if I want to execute all these three projects individually, the solution is simple. I'm going to create three different virtual environments, and all the dependencies which are required in a project level will be installed in that virtual environment, the project related virtual environment. So this is a concept which is introduced in Python and which is very, very useful nowadays. Is it clear to everybody what is a virtual environment and what is the importance of the same? Is it clear to all of you? Guys, try to be interactive as much as you can. That makes the class interesting. Okay, cool. So now I believe most of you have downloaded the Pycharm. So just open up your Pycharm windows and create a new project. So let me create one. Give the name of the project, name it as API Python batch. So this is the window. It is saying that I'm creating a virtual environment. You can see here, guys. Pycharm says I'm creating a virtual environment for your newly created project. So this is the one I'm just talking about. So whatever I'm going to install in this project, whatever API I am going to install in this project will be only and only specific to this project. It is not installed on a global parameter. Okay. So ignore this main.py file as of now. It is of no use right now for us. So now we have Python installed in our systems. We have Pycharm. So for those who are unaware of how to download Python and Pycharm, I'm repeating myself one more time. Python download, if I search for, So there's a website. This is Python 3.9.0. You can download this latest version. And to download Pycharm, you can simply write Pycharm download. Open the official website, which is jetbrains.com. Over here, there are two versions available. If you are using Windows, or you are using Mac, or you are using Linux, you can switch from here accordingly. So if you are using PyCharm, we are going to download the community version, which is available freely, However, the professional version is not free. It is a paid version. That is why we say it is having a free trial. Okay, so just click on this download button and you will be downloaded PyCharm. Once you download it, simply install it, click all the checkboxes, install it, and create a new project. The moment you create a new project, a window like this will be appeared. Okay, should I move ahead? But which tool we can use to create a virtual machine? So Tushar, there are two things. It is not a virtual machine that we are creating. It is a virtual environment that we are creating. Now there are two things. Either you can create it using a IDE. IDE means an integrated development environment. In our case, which is Pycharm. So Pycharm automatically creates a virtual environment for you and uses it. But there is another way around, which is the manual way, using the commands. So I'm going to show you that also. So let us create a new. This is my. I'm going to create a new folder. Let's create a new folder over here. Name it as API Python API Python demo. So this is a new folder I have just created. This is right now empty. There is nothing available inside this. And if I show you the another one, let me just a second. Let me open Pycharm. Over here, if I go to my project, right click and say open in Explorer. So you can see this is the one which the IDE has created, means the Pycharm has created. So the only difference between this window, which is the project that we have created, and the window this, which is being created by the Pycharm automatically, is the virtual environment. Is a virtual environment, right? So how we are going to create a virtual environment manually in case if a automatic IDE is not available. So it is very simple. Just open this location. Open this location in your command prompt window. Over here, write cd. So I'm inside my, you can say I'm inside a work directory, which is the D directory. So I'll move into D. So I'll say cd uh, API Python. It should show me. Okay, let me simply write like this. Yeah, now I'm in the D directory. I'll say cd API Python demo. So I'm inside my project. Right now, there is nothing inside this project. Now, my thing is I need to create a virtual environment for my own project. How can I do that? I'm going to write a command which is called virtual env. So the command is virtual env. Virtual env is the command. Then we give a space and we give the folder name. The folder name is venv. You can give any folder name. It's not important. You have to give venv only. You can give any project or any virtual environment name. By default, venv is created. So now I'll go back. I'll say virtual env. I'll name the folder as venv. I'll hit enter. So let's wait. It says, okay, I have created a virtual environment for you. If I go back in my project, you can see now our venv folder is created. If I open this, all basic requirements, all basic scripts are now available. So this is a way we create a virtual environment in my project. Automatically it is done by an IDE, and manually we can create it using this command. Am I clear to all of you? Am I clear to everybody? Yogesh and Tushar answering your questions. Okay. Now one more important concept that comes in Python. Concept says, boss, we are going to use, how are we going to install any library? When I'm saying library, I can also reference to an API. So how are we going to install any library in any API or any third party tool, if I say? So how are we going to exactly install these things in my systems? So to install anything, I repeat, to install anything in Python, we follow a command called pip. We follow a command called pip, which stands for Python Package Manager. Python Package Manager. So using this command, we install anything which is available in Python. For example, if I need to download Selenium, what will I write? I'll write pip install. I'll simply write pip install Selenium and my work is done. Simple one line command to install anything. If in case I want to install this ABCD version 3.0, I would have written pip install ABCD space version 3.0. That exact library will be downloaded. So the official website for pip is PyPy. This is the official website where you can search for any library. If I search for Selenium here, if I hit enter, you can see this is available. If I open this, here is a command that I just told you. It says the command to install any package in Python in your virtual environment is pip install Selenium. Instead of Selenium, you can give any library name. This is some documentation available regarding Selenium that we can use. Is it clear to everybody what is pip and what is virtual environment? Normally, this virtual env command is not available in your systems. So to download virtual env also, you guys need to use the pip command. So you will be writing pip install virtual env. Once you do that, your things will be downloaded and then you can move ahead. Okay. I felt that Pycharm itself created a virtual environment for any project, and I just wanted to know the difference between Pycharm and command virtual environment. There is no difference between the Pycharm and the virtual environment that is created manually. Both of these things are similar. The only difference is one is I am creating manually writing this command, and the one is done automatically without writing this command. Oh, that is the only difference. Okay. So now we know that what is pip. Now we know that what is a virtual environment. One more major step that we need to follow is whenever we have a virtual environment, we need to activate it. What do we need to do it? We need to activate the virtual environment. Okay. So by default, PyCharm does that job for us. So whenever you see a symbol like this, whenever you see a symbol like this, it simply means your virtual environment is now activated, and whatever you will install now will be installed in this venv folder only. Okay. So now let's start with the API automation code. I believe till here the basics are clear to everybody. Exactly. Yes. Okay. So now I'm going to move ahead. Now let's try to create one new file. I'll go right click, simply say new Python file. Over here, let's name it as test underscore demo. I click enter. Now a new page with test demo.py is turned on. Now I'm going to use this to write my code. In the last session, we discussed about Postman, if you guys remember. We have discussed about Postman. So Postman gives you a tool where we request and where we respond, and exactly it gives us a response, correct? So today, let me tell you that how can you exactly get your Trello APIs in case if you want to. That is important. So the only thing is you need to visit the official website of Trello. I'll say Trello developer. One important thing, go to the website and sign up first of all. Unless or until you will sign up, your work will not be done. Okay. So sign up and create a username and a password, and it will automatically sign you up with that username and password. Okay. So once you go up and you open this URL, which is Trello developers, this tells you all the details. So if I scroll down, there is a section called Trello's REST API. If I select it, open the first one, which is API introduction, it says, yeah, here I'm going to tell you how is the API is being executed. So it says to get started, you will need a API key. So if I open my Postman, you can see in all the requests, I am sending a key, which is very much important. Why? Because that makes my board unique to myself. Exactly. So I'll come down. It gives me a link. I'll click on this link. It opens a new tab where it gives me my key. So this is the key that you guys will get from the Trello's official website. Secondly, you guys also need a token. So there are two things. One is key and another is token. So how to get this token? Over on the same page, in the end, it says generate a token. If I hit OK, it will ask you to, okay, verify whether it is you or not. Scroll down and say, okay, yes, it is me, allow. If you allow this, a token is generated. I'm going to copy this token and paste it here. So this is my token. I got my token. I got my key. Now, where will I get my API from? Where will I get my API? API means this endpoint, where I'm going to get this from. So to get this, let me give you a link. So, okay, not this one. Let me give you the exact link. This is the link where all the API documentation is available. I have sent the link to everybody. So now over here, if I go to the board section, by default it is open. If I go to the board section, there is an API called get a board. If I click here, it gives you all the information and all the documentation about this API. If I scroll down, it will give you every required information. It gives you the exact API in the form of a curl method. It says the responses will be of three types. The first response will be 200, which means success. It can be 404, 401, which means unauthorized. It can be 404, which means the specified resource was not found. And by default, and if not these, it can be unexpected error. So these are the four different types of responses this API is going to return. Now the question comes, how am I going to use this API? So I'll copy this command. I go and copy Control C. I'll go back to my Postman. Over here at the top, you guys can see after this new button, there is a button called import. There is a button called import. If I hit here, it asks me for raw text. It asks me for raw text. Now here I need to give me the I need to give the raw text which I just copied. I'll say continue and import. So you can see now my request is imported in Postman. I can save this, simply say Control S, give a decent user name, let's say demo API, and I want to save this in a folder called Trello API, and I save it. So now I have saved a GET request. If I hit enter, hit send, it says invalid token because I need to give my key and my token. So what is my key? This is the key I have. I'll go back, I'll paste here, and I need to give my token, copy. I'll come down and paste my token. If I hit enter, it says it's an invalid ID. So here I need to give a valid ID also. I'm saying I want the information for board 1. Okay, board 1 is might be not available. Okay, I need to give an ID here. So to get an ID, there is another API which says get board IDs. If I hit here, so you guys can see this types of information is available. In the response, I'm getting the ID. I'll go here and paste it in the URL. So I'm saying I want the information about this ID. If I send this, you can see a proper response is generated. I'll explain you how to get all these APIs, no worries. But is the flow exactly clear to everybody how to set up your own Trello APIs, how to get your own key and how to get your own tokens? Is it clear to everybody, all the attendees available? Guys, either reply yes or no. I need a confirmation on the same. Yeah? Is it clear to everybody how to set up your Trello account? Okay, no worries. Could you share the link? So no worries. Uh, can you tell me your name who is sending me this question? Could you share me that link for the creating API so that we can follow the same step? I cannot see your name. If API and key and token is not available, then any other things can be provided. No, Rashmi, for Trello API, we need a key and a token. I'm repeating all the steps one more time. So how does it goes? The first and a very important thing that you guys need to do is create your Trello account on the official website of Trello.com. So if you go to Trello.com, let me open that in an incognito mode. If I go to Trello.com, over here, just go to sign up button and sign up using your Google account or a Microsoft and Apple account. Or if you, in case if you want to create your own, you can create your own. Okay. Once you do that, let me create actually, let's say abcd@yahoo.com. If I click on continue, it will ask me to enter full name. Let's say Ashish. Create a password. Let's say tester. Sign up. Password must be of at least 8 characters. Okay. I'm entering a password. Email and used by an unconfirmed account. You can log in. Okay, it's in use. So let me give some more information. You guys can create your own email accounts using your email IDs. So you can see it says it's done. I need to verify it using an email address. So all these things will be done and then it's okay. So once you do all these things, you will be landing on a board like this. You will be landing on a page like this, which means there will be no boards initially. There will be only one or two boards. Once you do this, this is the UI part. To get the API, you need to then visit this URL, which is over here, Trello API. I'm going to give you this URL. Let me copy and give it to everybody. I'm sending this URL to all of you. Just visit this URL, click on Trello.com app key. If you click on this link, the moment you click on this link after logging in, you will be getting the key. You will be getting the key. Copy this as your key, which is required. To generate a token, click on token. Another server website will be opening, tab will open up, which will ask you to verify whether this is you or not. Click on the allow button and it will give you your token. So like this, you guys can get your API key and a token. Am I audible to all of you? Am I audible to all of you? Arun, you need to reconnect one more time, I believe. There might be an internet issue. So like this, we will be getting our Trello APIs, Trello token and key. The next thing is, this is the URL where you will be getting all the APIs. I'm sending this URL to everybody. This is the URL where you will be getting all the APIs. This is the curl request. Copy this request, open the Postman. Let us take and go to import button. Go to raw text and paste it. Once you paste it, click on continue and it will be inserted because I already have it, so I'm not inserting it one more time. Once you insert it, give your key, give your token and the exact parameter, and it will execute. And it will execute. Okay. Are the steps clear to everybody now? Are the steps clear to everybody now? So Shar, Yogesh, are the steps clear? These URL just need to paste. Once you paste it, you need to make your own changes, Yogesh. You need to make your own, add your own key and add your own token, and then it will work. So these are the APIs which are available online to everybody. Okay. Am I clear to all of you? So all of these available here are APIs. You can use any one of them. I've searched on few of them and we'll be working on them only. So now let's see, this is something we have done manually. We are hitting an API and we are getting a response. Now the question is, what kind of response is this? Anyone who can tell me, what do we call response of this type? What is the response called? What is the type of the response over here? JSON response. Exactly, Karthik. So this is a response which is called JSON. What is the JSON response? A JSON response simply means a dictionary. It simply means a dictionary. A dictionary, when I'm saying, it means a key and a value. So this is a key and a value. This is a key and a value. So a combination of multiple keys and values all together is called a JSON response. Now, one important thing, how do we parse this JSON response? If I go over here, I'll go to our website, let's say JSON formatter or something. Okay, let's open another one, JSON. JSON viewer, let's say. Let me open this one. So here is an example. I'll remove this. I'll paste the response which I just received. And this is the exact low level documentation of the same. You can see initially there is one object. If I open this, there is ID, name, description, and so on. Then it has another dictionary JSON inside it, which is called preferences. It has another inside it, which is called labels. So now the question is, how will I access, if I want to access that, what is the value of the pinned key? Anyone in this audience who can tell me, how can I access the value of this pinned key? This is the key over here. I need the value false. How can I access it? Anyone who can tell me? Just give it a try. How can I parse a JSON file? The question is, how can I parse a JSON file? Because at the end of the day, I need the data from the response and I need to validate the data, correct? Anyone having any example? Root path dot pinned. If I simply write pinned, okay, it is working correctly. If I write prefs dot, you can say voting. Is it working? No. So let's try to, this is just a basic JSON locator. I open another website. Let's call it as JSON path. So over here, I'll paste this JSON file. So this is the JSON file I'm having right now. So what will happen initially, how to parse a JSON file? Let me show you here. So suppose if I have a very basic object, which is like, suppose you have name colon and my name is Ashish, comma, let's say you have another attribute, let's call it as age colon, let's say my age is 25, and yeah, so this is also a key and a value. This is a key and a value. Now in case if I want the value for age, that what is the value for age, how can I do that? So whenever you want a complete response, you will be using dot dollar dot. So the moment you use a dollar and a dot, the moment we use a dollar and the dot, when you're working with JSON path, that simply means everything. That simply means everything. Inside this, I want the age attribute, correct? So I'll simply write age. Similarly, here I want the ID attribute, so I'll simply write ID. The moment I write ID, you guys can see I got only ID from this complete JSON file. If I write no, I want the name. So it gave me the name, which is 24 October. I want the value for pinned. It gave me the value for pinned. Right? Now, suppose I want to go inside this press and I want the value for voting. So what will I do? I'll say press. So you can see on the right hand side, the pref is loaded. I'll say dot. I want the voting. So it gave me the result for press dot voting. Similarly, I want something inside label names. So I'll come here. I'll say the label names dot ping. So the value is nothing. The value is nil. Yes, dollar you can say indicates the root path here. Okay. So this is a normal and a manual way that we guys work with a JSON file. So what exactly the use of the JSON file is for us? We are going to get the ID. Then we are going to use this one board ID in all other APIs. So we are fetching ID from the response, and then we are going to use this ID in other requests. Then we are going to use these IDs in other requests. Okay. So now we go back to our Pycharm and let's see how does that works for us. So whenever we automate anything, whenever we talk about APIs, we talk about few REST API, REST methods. We talk about some REST methods. What is a REST method? In REST method, we have something called get, we have something called post, we have something called put, we have something called delete, and so on. Get, post, put, delete, and so on. So there are multiple options. So if I show you here, over here in this Postman tool, if I open this, you can see there are multiple options available for us, which are called REST API methods. Using these methods only, we automate any API. Now, how? What is the exact use of each one of them? So when I'm saying the get simply means to fetch. Get simply means to fetch. Whenever I need to fetch a response, whenever I need to fetch a response, no operation is performed. I cannot update any API. I cannot delete any API. I can only read the response. Whenever I want to fetch and read a response, and I do not want to perform any operation, where any operation in database, I do not want to perform any operation in the database, at that point of time we use the get method. If I show you here, when I'm using the get method, you guys can see I'm not passing anything, I'm just passing my key and my token, and I'm trying to request something from the database. So if I show you here, so this is what our API is, correct? And this is my Trello database, let's say. So what is happening? When I'm using my get method, I'm requesting this database to give me all the names of all the boards, let's say. I'm requesting to give all board names. When I'm requesting for all board names, what happens? The database responds and only give me the names which are required, which are requested. But it does not gives me any privilege to perform any CRUD operation on that, to perform any CRUD operation. What is CRUD? Create, it's called create, read, update, and delete. I can only and only perform a read operation whenever I'm using a get method. So I can ask for anything from the database using the get method, and in the response it gives me the exact required information. Okay. The second method that we follow is called a post method. As the name says, we want to post something. I want to post a letter. So I'm writing something, I'm giving some input. So it simply means whenever you want to post a request, suppose in what happens in my Trello API, I want to create a new board. I want to create a new board. So what is happening? I'm performing an operation. I'm performing a I'm performing a create operation. So whenever we need to create something in our database, whenever we need to create a new entry in our database, we use the post method. Suppose, for example, if I show you here, it says I want to give a name. I'm saying I'm giving you a name called, let's say, API demo. And if I hit send button, right now, if I show you here on this web page, there is no board with a name. If I refresh it, there is no board with the name API demo. Now, if I go here, I'm saying I want to create a board with API demo, but I need to use the post method. Why? because I'm posting an entry in my database. If I send it, it says okay. It gives me a valid response. If I go back in my code, you can see now it has created a new board with the name API. So what name has we given? It's the API demo. So yeah, here it has created a new board which is called API demo, which is called API demo. So this is the same operation performed using an API which we perform by clicking on this board. If I click on this board, it asks me for a board title. So the same thing we have done here. We have given the board title and we have clicked on that button using the send button, and it creates me a new API demo page. So what exactly happened here? If I show you, I requested the database. I requested the database to create a new board, with a name, let's say XYZ. In the response, the database said, okay, I am giving you the access of this date board. I have created it for you, and the newly created board has these parameters. It has a new ID, it has a new it has something like this, it has few more entries that you can work on. So this is the way our post method works whenever we are performing a create operation. Now the third one is put operation. What does put means? It means whenever you want to update an existing thing. Now suppose I want to update something. I want to update my board, you can say. So I can perform an operation. I'm perform a operation, which means I'm adding some data. I'm requesting some data to the already created data. I'm saying them to update it. So if I have an API, a put API, this is a put API. So it says you need to give me the board ID. So from where I can get the board ID? So you can see the newly fresh API demo that we have created. This is the board ID. I'm copying this, opening my put API. Here I'm in the URL. I need to change this board ID. I've changed it, and my key and my token remain same. Here I need to give a new name. So let me name it as API new board. If I hit send, it says, okay, I have done this job for you. If I go back to my page, you see this name is only changed. A new board is not added. A new board is not added. Only an existing board has changed. So which operation is performed here? A update operation is performed here. So whenever we need to perform any update operation, we use a method called put. We use a method called put. The last one comes, which is a delete method. The name sounds very simple. The name sounds whenever we need to delete a stuff. You can say whenever you need to delete something from your database, you perform a delete operation. So now again, what is the exact way? If I go back here, it says deleting a board. I need to give the board ID again. So let me copy the board ID. So the board ID which I have provided here, this is my board ID. I'll go here, I'll update in the URL, and I'll simply say send. It says me value is null. It says okay, done. You guys can see the API demo board is now removed from this page. If I even refresh this page, the board has been removed. So like this, all the four possible REST methods, get, post, put, and delete, are functional. Am I clear to everybody with all these four methods? All the 23 attendees? Am I clear to all of you? A yes or a no will help me to understand the class. Please be interactive, guys. Can you please show again how you create an API? Which section are you talking about, Rashmi? So we have the API here. Post method. So for the post method here, we have one API. You can get this API from the official website. Here it says create a board. If you go down, you can get this API from here. So just copy this and work on this. Uh, I have a basic question. The user can perform these tasks from UI. Why we need to do it from API? So I want to ask a very basic question for the same. What in case if the UI is not working? You do not have a UI. The tool does not have a UI. In that case, you need an API, correct? A UI responsibility is in only in that whatever details are coming from backend, it will show you in a more beautiful way. So right now you guys think that this information is useless, right? But the UI person is responsible to handle this information and show you guys in a more fashionable manner. If this response is not available, the UI is useless. Yes, all the applications are designed using API. We have no application which has designed without an API unless or until we have a backend integrated to it. You can take an example of Make My Trip, Yatra.com, any travel agency, or any Amazon.com, Flipkart.com. So all of these, suppose Yatra.com. So if you are booking a flight in their website, what happens? At the back end, there is a database which extracts all the flight's information and shows it to you. So unless or until you will not have that information, how will the UI show you that information? So to get the information from the database and to show that to the UI, we need an API like this. That is why an API is created. And once if API is created, as a tester, it's our responsibility to verify whether the response is correct or not. Because if something incorrect goes to the UI, my UI looks bad. My UI looks invalid. So that is the reason I need to automate my APIs. Am I clear? Great. Now we know that we have REST methods like this. So what will happen? How I'm going to automate it using Python? How will I automate it using Python? So if I go back to my code, whenever we are working with API automation in Python, there is a module called request module. If I say import, I'm saying import requests, import request. Right now it is giving me an error. Let's see what it says. It says you need to install this package. So how do we install a package in Python, guys? How do we install a package in Python? Pip install. So what will I write here? I'll simply write pip install. I'm verifying my virtual environment is activated. Yes. I'll write pip install requests requests. I'll hit enter. So it says, okay, I'm working on it. It says, yep, I'm done. The package is installed. So now you can see the error is removed automatically. The error is removed automatically. So I'm simply going to write pip install, the package name, and your work is done. Right? Now, another thing that this is one manual way to do this. There is one UI way also. You can go to file, you can go to settings. If you open this, over here, go to your project, go to project interpreter. Over here, there is a plus button. There is a plus button. If I click on this plus button, I can write whatever I want, the package name. Suppose I want Selenium. I'll search for Selenium and click on install package. It says that I am installing Selenium. It says it's done successfully. Click on OK. You can see the Selenium package is now added here. Click on OK. So this is the way we can do the same thing that we are doing via command, but we can do the same thing via UI. Am I clear to everybody? Yes. Okay, moving ahead. Now, what is this request module for? Why is it used? What is the importance of this request module? If I simply show you, if I say requests dot, you see there are so many options available: get, post, put, delete. So what are these operations? What are these functions? These are my REST functions that we just discussed a minute back. So all the functionalities will now be available inside my Python code. Now the question says how. So let's take this example only. Let's try to get post a board. Let's try to create a new board. The API that I'm going to show you is this one: post create a new board. If I show you this URL, let's break this URL into multiple pieces. I'll add a comment. So this is the URL that we have. I'm going to break it in multiple small pieces. This is my key. This is my token, and this is my name. I've broken the URL in 3 or 4 parts. What is this part of the URL called? This can be also be broken into 2 parts actually. The first part of the URL is called, what is this called? Anyone having any idea? What is the first part of the URL called? We call it as an IP, we call it as a domain. So this is what I say a domain is, or we call it as an IP is, or we also call it as the you can say, you can give it any name. You can say the server. Over here, the second part is called, this is the path that go to this website, go to this URL. Over here, go to this path. So when these two are connected together, that makes one URL. That makes one URL. In when we say in automating language, we call this path as endpoint. We call this as endpoint sometimes. So we go to the developer. We know that our organization has a fixed domain. So we will not ask for domain again and again. We will only ask the developer to give us the endpoint of the application. And once we give the endpoint of the application, it is my responsibility to connect both of them and create one URL. Okay. What are these things? These things, whenever given, used question mark. Question mark means query parameter. Question marks means query parameters. What are query parameters? Any information that is required to be submitted along with this URL will be given as a query parameter. When you need to give multiple query parameters are also in a form of key is equal to value. So this is my key, this is my value, this is my key, this is the value, this is the key, and this is the value. Whenever we need to give more than one key value pair, we use a ampersand sign. So the more ampersand sign, the more and sign means the more number of query parameters. So now let's start with the coding. What will I say? I'll say API underscore endpoint is equal to, so my endpoint for the API is, I'll give the complete URL slash, let's do it like this. So this is the URL that I want to hit on. What is the next thing? This is a very basic version of automation, guys. Next thing is I'm saying query param. I need to give them also. I'll take it in a form of a dictionary or a JSON format. So the first thing here I need to pass is my key. I'll copy. I'll need to give it in a key value pair. Just a minute. Key colon value, comma. What is the next key that you need to provide here? The one next one is token. I'll copy this, come down, paste it. I'll cover it up in curly inverted commas. Instead of equal to, I'll give this, and yep. In the end, I'll give one comma one more time. The third one is the name, because this is the last one. If I just minimize this, the third one is the name. I need to pass a name here. So I'll say colon. The name I want to give here is like automation underscore 25 October. That's it. There are no more query parameters, hence I'm not going to give any more information. Now, once I have a query parameter, I have an API. I want a response. What will I say? I say request. I'm sending a request. What type of request I'm sending? I'm sending a post request. It says I want a URL and I want some data. I want some URL and I want some data. So URL here is this API endpoint. I'll pass one endpoint, comma, the data I need to pass here. So I'm passing this as parameter. So I'll say param is equal to, these are my parameters. Okay. Now I need to save the response somewhere. So I'll take one variable. I'll name this variable as response is equal to request dot post this endpoint with this data. Now I want to print it. I'll say print me the response. If I save this, and now I want to execute my information, I'll go right click. I'll say run. It says I got the response as 200. Why 200? 200 means it is status code 200. If I go here on the official page, you can see a new board is created as automation 25 October over here using our API. Now I want to see the response also. What will I say? I want the response in the JSON format. I want the response in the JSON format. Let's give some other name this time, automation 25 underscore October. I'll again execute the same code. You see here, now it has returned me the complete response which was returned here. The complete response which was returned here is the same one which I have in my code now. Now I can use this response, I can fetch some data, and I can pass that data into some another domain, into some another request. So like this, we send a very basic request using Python. Now if I say I only want the ID, I only want the ID. So what will I do? I'll save this response in a somewhere. Let's save this response somewhere. I'll call it as Json response is equal to, sorry, Json response is equal to response dot JSON, I'm saying. And now the way we were using JSON, how to parse the JSON stuff, I'll say this is my result. This is the result I have stored in my variable. In this result, I want the ID. So I'll say two square brackets, and I'll write I only want the ID of the newly created board. If I create one more as 26 October, if I hit and save this and run this, this time it has only printed me the ID of the newly created board. If I go here, a new board with the name automation 26 October is created. So is this code, this 4 or 5 lines of code clear to everybody? How do we work on this? Is it clear to all the attendees? Guys, say yes or no. In case if you have a question, please ask. Yes. Okay, great. Now, what will be our responsibility when you will be enrolled in this course? So, we have multiple types of frameworks available in market. We will be working on each of them one by one. So, you guys must have received the API automation content. That content contains BDD framework, that content contains robot framework. We are going to see both of them in detail. We are going to see POM and data driven as well. That what is data driven format. So as an automation tester, our responsibility is not only to write this lines of code. Our responsibility is equally to write, you know, all the possible scenarios. I need to verify all the possible scenarios which are available down there. So now when you are posting some data, in yesterday's session I showed you, if you guys remember, we will be working on Django stuff also. So let me show you the Django stuff one more time. Let me open up the server. Mm, we'll be writing Python manage dot. I'll explain. I'll give you that code that how to execute your own database up. So this is my Django server up and running. If I say this is my API, this is an API that I have created for us to enroll in this course. Okay, now this is an API. Like suppose this is the data that I have shown. This is in a form of a JSON file. We are going to work on these files also, that how to automate all these types of requests. What is Django framework? What is Django test framework? How to exactly use this? So can we validate the results provided by API with database? Yes, that is the exact requirement that we are going to perform in this course. So this is my database. If I open you a new tab, 127, if I go to the admin section this time, so this is my database. You can see if this is the database where I have all the values, and this is the API which is returning me these values in the form of a JSON file. So I'm going to connect through this database. I'm going to fetch my data from here and going to verify whether the same data is being responded or not. So this is an exact requirement of an automation tester, as in backend automation tester, you can see. So we will learn, I'll give you this code, how to create your own post. This is the database and this is the API. We have a get API, we have a put API, delete, and everything. So now if I go here, and first of all, I need to create a token and all these things in this also. So I'll give you this, the access to this repository. You guys can also perform the same things. So in this course, we will be working on all of these things. So now tell me guys, if you guys have any questions in your mind, feel free to ask me. Can we trace auto-generated value via browser network logs using this API? I'm not getting your question, Yogesh. Auto-generated value in the network logs, that is something which we can do via page source and all these things. Unless or until you have an API for that, you cannot or do, I believe, things like that. Anyone having any more questions, you guys can feel free to ask. You guys have the content, all these things. We will be starting this batch on 31st of October, that is Halloween. In my organization, the application is designed using web methods and Java. So can I do API testing? So see, your application organization must be having an API part also. So that API part, for sure, you can automate it using this course. Okay. In any system, generate auto ID via service call. It reflects in network logs of Chrome. So can we trace those values? You are saying the moment anything is updated, we get an API. Yes, exactly. Yes, Yogesh. These are the same thing that we get. So this is something you are saying like this, right? If I go to inspect, I'll go to the networks tab, and then if I refresh, so these are the APIs which are generated, correct? So these are the APIs that we are also going to automate. From here, you can get these APIs also. If you go down, you guys can simply get this API from, this is the query string parameter. This is the URL which we are going to send here, and all these types of details. So these are the request headers you can get from query parameters. These are my response headers, and this is my request URL. This is the request URL. So, but these IDs are dynamic. This then in this case can be. We need the access of this code, Yogesh. Unless or until you do not have any access to the database, you cannot do anything. These APIs are very much secure. You cannot directly get them and automate. That is not possible yet, unless or until they are freely available. Okay. So I don't have any experience in coding. From next week, can you explain from very? Yes, this course is going to be started from very basics, guys. I'm going to cover Python from scratch, and we are going to learn it to a good automation required level. Then we are going to work on these types of frameworks. A very important thing that we guys will be working on is called PyTest, which is a testing framework in Python, which is available for everybody. So in organization level, we want to implement, have access to dev environment also. Yes. So whenever you're working in the live project, these guys will be giving you these APIs, developers, and you will be responsible to automate these APIs. It's not us who are going to get it. It's the responsibility of the developers. By taking this training, can we keep experience? Yes, you can challenge a 3 year or 4 year person who is inside this automation already. How do we know the application is created using API? So you can simply right click and click on inspect. Once you do that, go to the networks log. Over here, there's an XHR, which means all the requests. So if you are getting something like this, it means there are APIs which are working at the backend. Okay, because if you see the response, you can see here the data is being coming, the same data I'm showing you in my Postman, the same data is in my blog, in my browser, and the data is now represented in a beautiful manner. Okay, I only installed Python. What are the other tools installed by next class? Pycharm is one more tool that is required, and Postman also. So we are going to cover such scenarios. Yogesh, that is what I'm saying, right? I have my own APIs, the Trello APIs. We are going to automate them. Yes, Pycharm also, Irshad. Yeah. So we are going to cover two types. We are going to cover the Trello APIs as well as the Django APIs. The Django one will be done using the Django test framework, and these will be done using the request framework. Okay. So there is a difference for both of them. Any more questions to anybody? So how many of you are interested in joining this batch, guys? How many? I would request to give some highlight on how, yeah, we have a proper session planned for Postman, Yogesh. There is a complete 4 hours of session for Postman. Karthik, you, those who have not seen my previous lecture, they can see the last day recording. I'm just asking if how many of you are interested in joining the session. Okay, cool. Okay, so you have taken the lifetime one. So you are, yes, already in on all my batches, which are going to be started. Okay, so whosoever is from for the lifetime batch, These guys have all the access to my all the batches, not a problem at all. So okay then, guys, uh, that is all for today's lecture. We will be starting the session on 31st of October, 6:30 p.m. IST, 6:30 to 8 o'clock. In training, can you teach inter API calling example? Yeah, that is a part of that for sure. Without that, there is nothing possible. Unless or until you fetch a response from one API and put that as a request into another, the automation is useless. So we will be covering these types of scenarios for sure. The next lesson is on 31st of October, guys, on 6:30 p.m. sharp IST, Indian Standard Time. It's Halloween. Any feedbacks you guys want to share regarding the fees and everything? You guys will get a mail from Rahul one time. What will be the duration of the course approximately? The duration of the course is almost 2 months. Debyendu. Okay. Okay, guys. By the way, happy Dashera to everybody. It's Dashera today in India. It is a festival that we celebrate for those who are unaware about. So happy Dashera to everybody available. So that is all for today's session. I hope I will be seeing most of you in the upcoming session, which is 31st of October. So yeah, if you guys have any more questions, you are free to ask. Otherwise, we are good to end. Yes, you will get the recorded video. Rahul will send you a mail with all the recordings and fees and everybody. Yes, you will be. I will give the URL to Rahul. He will paste that URL along with that API recording. No worries. And in case if you guys want to connect to me directly, this is my contact number, which is 7011197716. My email ID is agarg9582@gmail.com. My good name is Ashish Garg. Okay. Any separate group for lifetime members? As of now, I am not aware of these types of groups, Yogesh. Rahul must be working on that. You will get an update for that accordingly. So yeah, that's it. I hope I'm going to see most of you in the next class. Thank you guys. Stay safe, stay home. Happy Dashera. Bye bye. Selenium and Python will be started from the next week, Amit. Okay. Selenium and Python will be started from the very next week, which is 30. I believe on 31st we might have a demo on Selenium Python, or on in the next week, whatever suits the best. Okay, guys. In case if you have no question, I believe that is should not be same time. No, that will be starting from 8 8:30 to 10. So this is from 6:30 to 8, and another batch will be started from 8:30 to 10. Yeah, definitely. Selenium Python is a different thing for sure. It is very much different, Leslie. Okay. I'm your lifetime club members, ship members from last 8 weeks. No, we do not need to use Selenium at all for understanding API. Both are different things. From 8 years. Okay, great. No worries. So, okay, guys, then thank you so much. You guys can drop off. I will be connecting back on 31st October. Do we need any auto background? No, there is no requirement of any auto background. Okay, we will be starting from very basic to advanced. Okay, guys, any more questions left with anyone? Thank you for the great session. Welcome so much for being so patient. So, okay then, guys, I believe you guys can drop now because I might be ending the session once you drop because that will be the best way. In case if you're left with any more questions, you guys can contact me on my official number or official email ID. I'll respond to you to that. Okay. So bye bye. Take care. Stay safe. Stay home. Happy Dussehra.